Welcome to the Go Find Out podcast. I'm Jennifer Jelliff-Russell, author, speaker, and entrepreneur, bringing you actionable ideas and interviews with awesome women to help you pursue your dreams and achieve your goals. You can find more episodes of the Go Find Out podcast by visiting gofindoutpodcast.com. Enjoy the show and go find out. Welcome back to the Go Find Out podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Jelliff-Russell, and this is episode number 58. On today's solo show, we'll be focusing on motivation. But first, let's jump into my personal update. I always seem to want to start off my personal update by saying how not much is happening right now. But then when I actually think back over the last 2 weeks, I realize that lots of things are going on and I'm just downplaying them. So firstly, the pandemic is still going on, so that's super great. Not really, obviously. And while here in Maine, we tend to have a lower case count than in the southern states, our new cases have been increasing quite a bit these last few weeks. So that actually is one large reason that my husband and I will be dropping out of the Maine Marathon, which for me was going to be a half marathon. As much as I love that race, and I'd really been looking forward to it, I feel like it's not a very smart thing to attend such a large event right now. And they are going to be masking when possible, and at the start of the race, they're going to have everyone masked when they're grouped together. But I still don't think it's a great idea. I'm super bummed out about it, honestly. I've been training for it, and I'm up to like 10 miles right now. I would have been ready to do it, but I think it's probably the right decision to drop out. So I guess there's always next year. We are also well into the end of farming season for Maine. Actually, before recording this episode, I spent the morning canning pasta sauce. Honestly, it never fails that I expect to get more jars of sauce out of all the tomatoes that I process. I've still got a ton to do, so that might be next week's agenda as well, right after attending our town meeting. And speaking of our upcoming town meeting, I am so excited that I will be handing off the role of town clerk to somebody else. Though I have learned a lot while in the position, and I met a lot more locals as the town clerk than I would have otherwise, so that was kind of neat. It really wasn't something that I planned on doing long term. And I have to say, it's neat to be able to say that I ran the town's elections during one of the most contentious presidential races. I would still rather not have to do that again. So I'm pretty excited to be handing that over to somebody else. And to kind of wrap up this update, last week, for the first time ever, I served as a juror in a district court case and was also the foreperson in my jury. It was definitely interesting. And honestly, the author in me really took a lot of mental notes for future use in books, to like build characters. But man, it was difficult to know that our, jury deliberations would permanently affect the defendant's life. And I am not sure that I could be like a lawyer or a judge after being a juror. There is so much responsibility in those kind of roles, and that's too much responsibility for me. I would much rather make up characters and be able to do whatever I wanted with those characters. All right, I think that is more than enough of a personal update. Let's roll on to today's topic, motivation. So I was really inspired during my interview with McKenna Sage to make today's topic about motivation. During that interview, McKenna and I spoke about a quiz on her website, which tells you what your motivation style is. And while I was surprised by the results of that quiz, which suggested that I'm motivated by the idea of getting accolades, attention, or fame from my efforts, I wasn't as embarrassed at that idea as I might once have been. As I mentioned with McKenna, one of the things that I've really found myself coaching my clients more and more on is recognizing what they really want out of a career and what makes them feel successful. Right? Like what motivates them. For some women, it's having that higher paycheck. For others, it's less about the money and more about the impact that they're making within their workplace processes. For some, it's about being of service to others in some way, even if it's, in service to your family as a provider or a caregiver. And lastly, in this list, sometimes you're motivated by something because it literally just feels good. Your motivation for doing one thing might be totally different than the thing that motivates you to do something else. And your motivation can absolutely change over time. For the longest time, I was all about just helping others and being of service as a career coach. I didn't care how many figures were in my paycheck as long as it was enough to live on and I felt like what I was doing was making a difference. You tend to see this kind of mentality within a lot of social services type positions and most certainly within many nonprofit roles where pay tends to be low, but the emotional rewards of the actual job are high. The thing is, it's very easy for those motivated by being of service to get burned out. If only 1 out of every 10 clients thanks you for helping them, or you start to notice that what you're doing isn't really making a difference in the grand scheme of things, then it can kind of be demoralizing. When I realized that the free services and suggestions that I was providing to career coaching clients wasn't really being followed because it was free for them, I kind of felt jaded by the whole idea of being of service. After all, if people didn't appreciate the service, then kind of what was the point? So I shifted and started my own business where I determined how much I made from providing services. Now, in my career services business, I tend to be motivated by 2 things. That really kind of just comes down to 1. First, I'm motivated by my clients' success. And second, I'm motivated by making a decent living from coaching. I don't need to be a millionaire, but I want to be able to afford the things that I actually enjoy while also having the time to enjoy them, right? Rather than being sort of tied to a traditional 9-to-5 in which I just make lots of money or make some money and don't actually get to enjoy my life. When my business isn't making any money, then I tend to shift strategies in order to bring in clients again, which tends to boost my motivation again. However, as mentioned earlier, you can have different motivation for different things. So while I'm motivated by money in my career coaching services, when it comes to my author business, I am much more motivated by creating something that other people enjoy. In other words, getting accolades, right? It would be great to be famous, but I would really rather get those accolades for creating something that other people enjoy. In running, I'm motivated by how it makes me feel during the run. Listen, as a slow runner, I am never going to win any races. Right? And sure, it's great to be able to say that I run, but accolades really aren't going to happen with my running hobby. The thing that motivates me in running is that once I get going and put that first mile behind me, it just feels good. Honestly, if I didn't get that boost of endorphins during the run, then I probably would not have stuck with it for this long. But those feel-good juices that running gives my brain helps me mentally feel better. And also, it's a great way to get things flowing again when I feel sort of stuck in a storyline. So what are you motivated by? Does your motivation line up with how you're approaching that thing? And if you're not sure what your motivations are, you can definitely check out McKenna's free World Changer quiz to get an idea. All right, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's solo episode. Join me next time when I interview Susie Sung about her journey of taking control of her life to start a podcast and become a published author. For real this time, I'm really going to have her interview on, unlike last time when I switched it. So until then, go find out. Thanks for listening to the show today. I hope you found the information beneficial and that it helps you tackle your own Go Find Out goals. You can find more episodes and the show transcripts at gofindoutpodcast.com. You can also let me know what you thought of the show by tweeting me at GFOpodcast or follow me on Instagram at GoFindOutPodcast. That's it for today. Now go find out.